Who makes the best electric car right now? Well, there's a fierce war being waged between Mercedes and BMW with the EQS and the i7. Both of them are packed to the gills with the latest, almost unbelievable gadgets. Both of them use the very latest battery technology, and both of them are vying desperately for the hard-earned cash of the extremely wealthy. But which one's better? Today we find out using a death match. Winner takes all, loser gets blown up.
The i7 xDrive 60 is an electric version of BMW's new 7 Series, which is also available in both petrol and diesel engines. It uses the same platform, but swaps internal combustion for batteries and twin motors. Prices start at £110,000, but this top-of-the-range M Sport Pro model costs £141,000. The Mercedes EQS, unlike the i7, is designed as an electric car from the outset and is an alternative to the flagship S-Class. The entry-level model will set you back £105,000, but for this top-spec EQS 53 4MATIC Plus, you'll be paying £161,000, 20 grand more than the BMW. So what are you getting for your money in terms of design?
The EQS doesn't get an awful lot of love when it comes to looks, and I can understand why. The basic car is a bit of a blob to look at, but the AMG version, slightly different story. It has a few elements that just bring it up a notch, including the AMG badge on the front, a slightly different grille design with these vertical strakes, and around the side, nice big 21-inch wheels with an AMG design, which fill the wheel arch and just give it a nice bit of extra stance to it. Along the side, not much to speak of in profile, again designed with aero in mind, but it does have these very lovely door handles which pop out when you stroke them, and they light up at night to help you find them. They look cool. They feel a bit janky, to be honest, but actually looks very good. The rear end, again, predominantly designed for aerodynamics, and it's also got these lovely rear lights which animate in the dark and look tremendous. I like this car, although I can understand if people believe it's a bit unspectacular and inoffensive. The BMW, meanwhile, looks like it was designed specifically to offend. Look at the size of this grille, absolutely enormous. I mean, it doesn't look so bad because the grille's black and the car's black in this case, but trust me, that is a big old nose. If you want a car that makes a statement, and that statement is up yours, then definitely get an i7. How cool are these lights as well? Split level design, so you got the DRLs up top and the main beams down there. So much presence in this thing. Around the side, even more presence. Every surface seems like it's very upright. It's like a brick on wheels, and that makes it look a lot bigger than the EQS. They both have 21-inch wheels, but these look almost lost in the wheel arches because all the surfaces are just so upright. Along the side, this thing doesn't have any pop-out door handles, but it has another trick, which is if you push this button, sadly the feature's not on this car, but the doors will open automatically for you, and you can even use the Hey BMW voice recognition system to open the doors as well. As for the rest of it, I'm getting Dodge Charger vibes, especially from the C-pillar. Definite muscle car stance to it, and then at the rear, again, hugely imposing. If you like to roll deep with your crew in your blacked out BMWs, trust me, there's not a lot of cars that do it better than the i7. Okay, so the BMW i7 uses 2 electric motors, making in total 536 horsepower and 745 Newton meters of torque, and it's very quick. Now, BMW say the i7 will do 0 to 62 in 4.7 seconds, which is quick, but it's not super quick in today's world of hyper-powerful, high-end electric cars. But this car has another trick up its sleeve to make launches a bit more fun, and I'm going to demonstrate it using this massive purple water bottle. I'll balance it on the iDrive controller, put it into sport mode, and launch it. And look at that, it fell over straight away. And that's because the whole car is shaking. Whenever you launch, it just vibrates, tightens the seatbelt, makes an ominous noise, and then you send it, and it just takes off. Yeah, it doesn't make you swallow your tongue, but it is quite impressive. I might have to get something a bit more sensible than a water bottle to test that feature in the Mercedes. But yeah, this thing pulls.
The i7 managed 0 to 62 in 4.5 seconds. Quick, but the Mercedes should be quicker. It has 751 horsepower and about 1,020 Newton meters of torque. That allows for an official 0 to 62 time of 3.8 seconds. But if you pay £9,000 and get the optional performance pack, it drops to 3.4 seconds. But what happens when you try it in reality? I got myself a slightly more sensible water container to find out.
So the Mercedes has a similar party trick. I'll fill up my cup with sweet, precious H2O. I'll stick that on the center console, put it in Sport Plus, foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator, seatbelt tightens, noise, water shaking. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that because otherwise it could get very messy in this car. But I put it on the dashboard here actually, and just see what happens when I launch it. That is just absolutely wild. Oh my God, it accelerates so quickly.
The EQS managed 0 to 62 in 3.4, which is over a second quicker than the BMW. But then it does have a huge power advantage, and to get that time, you'll need the performance package and the battery to be charged above 80%. Either way, the AMG wins this round. Where it's maybe not so good in comparison to the BMW is in the cabin, but that's not to say it's bad. It's incredibly stylish, with a huge and impressive 56-inch hyperscreen in the front consisting of 3 separate displays, allowing you to play games, surf the web and control media. The navigation system is also very cool, showing you an incredible level of detail, even if it's not quite as responsive as I'd like. The BMW sat-nav is a lot more responsive, but lacks a few features, including showing you where the charge point locations have available slots. It's also worth noting that the boot in the Mercedes is a massive 610 litres thanks to that flexible hatchback design. The BMW in comparison is a saloon, meaning it only offers 500 litres and a smaller opening, so loading large objects is more tricky. There's plenty of room in the back of both cars, with the Merc offering comfortable seats and an optional rear seat entertainment system consisting of 2 11-inch screens. But the BMW smashes it in this area.
I think the i7 is significantly better than the EQS in terms of how it treats rear seat passengers. For a start, there's absolutely tons of legroom and headroom in this car. It is a 7 Series after all. There are petrol versions as well as this all-electric model, and it shows. It's a lovely place to hang out. I've also got a armrest which folds down from the center. This actually extends to give me 2 cup holders and folds away. If I want some storage, I get that in the center, plus 2 USB ports, and I can fold that out of the way and just chill out in these amazing seats, which actually have these incredible pillows to help you relax. But that's not the best thing about the i7. The best thing about the i7 is the screens. So over here on my left-hand side, I have a small display in the door, and if I swipe up, that allows me to control various settings in the back of the car. I can control my media and radio playback. I can control the blinds. So I'll press close all, and you'll see every single blind closes for me automatically. That includes the sunroof, the 2 on the doors and 1 on the rear. I'll do open all, do that in reverse. Plus I can also control the lighting in this car as well as the seats. Now I can recline slightly or extend or compress the headrests, or in the long wheelbase versions of this car, it will actually move the front passenger seat forward and give me a leg rest so I can really enjoy my time back here in comfort. But that's not even the best thing. The best thing is that it comes with a Fire TV app. If I press that and hit fold down, it folds down this enormous 31-inch widescreen 8K cinema display for a theatre in the back of your i7, and it is glorious. Let me talk you through how it works while I give myself a quick massage here. It is a Fire TV, which means it's a lot like those USB sticks you plug in to your television, and that means there's a load of apps on here. You've got Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, ITVX, YouTube, Freevee, Disney Plus, Amazon Music, etc. My5, the list goes on. And once you choose whatever app you want, you can then select it and enjoy playing back your favorite video. Let's try and find something good. No, let's enjoy a bit of John Wick in the back of the i7 here and hope we don't get struck for copyright. And look at that, I'm currently watching John Wick in the back of my BMW i7. Obviously it doesn't quite fit the display. There's no native source that fits that size screen, but you can actually increase it and stretch it so it does somewhat fit that 31-inch widescreen display. It doesn't look like 8K, it's a bit soft around the edges, but I tell you what, in terms of a cinema experience in the back of a car, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? Amazing. So what are these cars like on the road? Well, before we get into the experience, let's talk a little bit about specifications, starting with the BMW i7. This car uses 2 electric motors and has a battery capacity of 101.7 kilowatt hours, and that's good for a range of 382 miles. The Mercedes-AMG EQS has an even bigger battery pack, 107 kilowatt hours, and that's good for a range of 453.
Both cars will recharge at up to 200 kilowatts from a rapid charger, and that means getting from near empty to 80% in around half an hour. So they're both pretty much identical in that respect. But if you're looking for a car that goes a long way, the Mercedes is the slightly better bet. However, even with its shorter range, the driving experience in the BMW is, well,
in a word, lovely. Really, really lovely. One of the highlights in this car is the suspension, which is just incredibly plush. I know it's a 7 Series, so it should be plush, but it's staggering in the softness and the suppleness of the ride. It's incredible. A lot of electric cars tend to be really firm and harsh, but BMW are really showing the way when it comes to ride quality in electric cars. The steering's also nice and light, so it's easy to place the car. The pedals are nice and progressive, so it's easy to slow down or to accelerate without disturbing other people in the car. And it's just a lovely experience. It even makes a good noise. I've got it in expressive mode right now, so just listen to the noise it makes when I accelerate. It sounds like the start of a movie, as it should, because the noise was composed by the legendary Hans Zimmer. What a machine. A couple of downsides in the i7. Because the suspension is so soft, it does move around a little bit. It's not the sportiest car in that respect.
Other negatives: refinement isn't quite as good as it could be. There's slightly more tire noise and wind noise than in the Mercedes, mainly because the i7 is shaped like a brick. It literally headbutts the wind out of the way, resulting in a drag coefficient of 0.24, and that does occasionally result in some wind noise at higher speeds.
The Mercedes, though, eerily quiet. This thing is shaped like a teardrop, so the drag coefficient is a world-leading 0.20. It's the slipperiest production car on the planet, and it's virtually silent. Wind noise is basically a myth in this car, and I believe it also uses active noise cancelling, basically a combination of microphones and speakers to detect the low frequency sounds coming into the cabin. It then plays an opposing frequency and effectively cancels out those noises. It's a brilliant car to sit in. It's also quite a nice car to drive as well. So in comfort mode, even though the suspension is firmer than in the BMW, it's still quite comfortable and deals with the bumps very nicely. But then you put it into Sport or Sport Plus, and the character changes yet again. You get a low frequency hum from the speakers in the car, giving you like a fake sound experience. And now when I accelerate, you get this pretty cool metallic noise, and there's 2 options for the sound in this car as well. If I go into sound experience, I can have Performance, which you just heard. God, that's violent. Or Authentic. Yeah, that's no less violent, but a little more subdued in terms of the noise that it makes.
The handling is great too. The suspension isn't quite as comfy and refined as in the i7, but the Merc stays flatter through the bends, feels more composed, and is more engaging from a driver's perspective. If you're carrying passengers, the BMW has the edge, but if you're driving for pleasure, the Merc takes the win.
So, which one of these two is the better electric car? Well, the EQS, I think, is the better driver's car. It's faster, it's more fun, and it's quieter. It's also got a better range, predominantly because it's not shaped like a brick. But I still love the way the i7 looks. It's got such presence, it's so comfortable to sit in. The technology is absolutely outrageous. It's a brilliant all-round car. So I guess I'm just gonna have to cop out here and call it a draw. I genuinely don't know which one to send off to a fiery oblivion. Ultimately, both these cars blow me away.